Alright, so we're in week 3 of Wuthering Waves, and there's quite a few things that we want to accomplish this week due to the giant announcements we got in the past couple days. First off, you might want to try to prioritize getting your Yinlin level to 40, because once you hit 40, you're able to get a lot more resources due to your world level increasing. So again, I would focus on trying to get all of your side quests done, and hopefully by now you completed the story. Do make sure that you do your daily quest, and you make sure you get your daily activity. And if you are getting close to 40, you might want to consider using a few crystal solvents to help push you towards 40. So next, let's talk about echoes. With it being a new week, that means our enhanced drop rate has reset. As you notice for me, I already used some of this, and I have 4 out of 15 for a 90% chance to get an enhanced drop rate. Basically meaning that I get a gold echo 90% of the time. But one thing to note, that if you are close to level 40 and your databank is all the way up to 20, you want to make sure that you go ahead and hit 40 and you increase your world level, because this will allow you to have a 100% drop rate, and trust me, you still have a pretty good chance to get purple echoes. But if you're in desperate need of echoes, feel free to go ahead and use your chances. But remember, this only applies to boss echoes. My recommendation is that you use these 15 chances on your main DPSs. So for me, that would be Gion, to where you can go for the monkey boss, or Calcharo, where this one definitely needs some work, so I'm going to be focusing the rest of my attempts on this one. And some might also be going for the Havoc Rover, but I don't really recommend that you use your attempts on this, because this is the easiest boss to farm. All you need to do is just go to the boss fight, select the lowest level, challenge, beat it very quickly, and then leave, and then do that all over again. Whereas most bosses, you have to wait 2 to 5 minutes for them to respawn. But there is one other boss echo that you might want to consider using your 15 chances on, and that is the turtle boss. The reason being is that most people by now have Arena on their account due to all the 5 stars that we were given in the game. But one of her best sets is a Rejuvenating Glow set, and you want to try to get healing bonus on the turtle boss. Getting this echo is very hard to get. The main reason being is that not only does the turtle boss have the rejuvenating set, but it also has the Moonlit Cloud set. And there's multiple stats that it can be. It can be attack, it can be crit rate, crit damage, HP, defense. So not only are you trying to look for healing bonus, but you're trying to look for healing bonus on the Rejuvenating Glow set. Last week, I was farming this boss without my 15 guaranteed chances, and you can see how many attempts I did to try to get this echo. But most of the characters use the weekly boss material from the turtle, so hopefully you have a little bit better luck than me, and maybe you might be able to get this without going through what I went through. But still, speaking on the echoes, when it comes to the sets that you want to go for, generally you want to get your main DPS set. So for me, I want to get the arrow bonus set for my main character Gion. And I have to agree with Homester to where this is probably the most efficient way to level up your echoes, to where you basically just get it up to 5, see what happens. If you get a good stat, continue on. And once you get a bad stat, it's best to stop. This will save you the most echo experience, since this is very limited in the game. But in their announcements, they did say that we're going to be getting an event soon to where we're able to get double echo experience XP. So you might want to try to save a few crystal solvents to make sure you can take advantage of that event. Then for your sub DPS, generally you want to go with the Moonlit Clouds and have Heron as their boss echo, since after activating that echo, once you switch to your main DPS, you're going to boost their damage. And for your healer, you essentially want to have the Rejuvenating Glow set. And for the boss echo that you want for that one, you want to have the Bellborn, since it's going to give damage reduction and boost the damage of everyone on the team. Also, when farming your bosses, it's pretty good to go ahead and use this waypoint gadget. To use them, you will have to use this waypoint module, to where if you don't have any, you can craft these in the main town. But you can use these to get to your bosses much faster, because there is a guaranteed echo system in the game, even past your databank, to where if you kill a boss and it does not drop an echo, the next boss that is killed has a higher chance to drop an echo. And if that boss doesn't drop an echo, you have a guaranteed chance for an echo to drop. Sadly though, depending on your databank, this could either be a purple or a gold echo. But you can use these waypoints to help reduce the time farming. So last week, I was farming the turtle boss, but I also needed echoes for Calcharo and eventually Yinlin. So I decided to set up 2 waypoints here, so that way I could quickly go to these bosses, since they take about 5 minutes to respawn. And if I ended up killing those bosses too fast, I would add Crownless in the mix as well, unless I had a guaranteed chance to get an echo on the boss I was specifically farming. And last week for me, that was the turtle boss. Then one thing that you want to make sure that you do is you're taking advantage of the events and you want to try to clear as many as you can. Biggest thing in here is of course the elusive realm. If you weren't able to get very far last week, hopefully this week your characters are strong enough to be able to get through most of these challenges, because these do give you quite a bit of rewards, which can be very helpful for you progressing your characters throughout the week. Another thing to note is that we have this over dash club to where you can do little mini games to get a couple little extra rewards. A track opens every day, and today we're at track 5. So make sure that you go ahead and complete these so that way you can get those extra resources. And the big reason why we're trying to get our teams up is so that way we can get farther in the Tower of Adversity. And the month has reset, so for the people that weren't able to get very far last week, you at least have this month to get more rewards, since you should be able to clear more levels and get even more items. You might want to focus on the tuner since we are getting a double echo experience later on, or if you're really hurting for echo experience, you could always go for the advanced sale 2s. Alright, so now we want to try to decide what we want to do with our Waveplate energy, because we still want to try to be hitting that level 40, but we still want to be efficient with our energy. What I recommend is that you level up the weapons of your main team and their skills. As you see here, I got the autumn trace from the battle pass, and that's what I'm using on Jian. To level this up further, I'm going to need to do a forgery challenge, and this is a great place to use my Waveplate energy on. On top of that, since he's my main DPS, I want to make sure that I get his important skills leveled as well. To where you can see for the weekly boss, I'm going to probably want to focus on the turtle, and I still want to do that same forgery challenge so that way I can level his skills. And you want to do the same for your sub DPSs and supports on the team, but these are at a lower priority since they are not going to be providing as much damage as the main DPS. One exception would be Verena, because the more attack she has, the more healing she's going to give you, and you would ideally like her forte circuit and her ultimate to be leveled, especially if you can get this one right here to where she can revive a character every 10 minutes, as well as grant them a shield. But for me specifically, I'm trying to focus on more of my main DPSs. As you see right here, I have Calcharo, and I even have the Rover, but I have a little bit more work I need to do on her. One very big announcement is that Yinlin is going to be coming out June 6. Due to that, you could start focusing on getting her materials if you plan to roll for her. To where, like most characters, for her ascension material, she's going to need a certain plant, and this is the plant that she is going to need. If you're familiar with Mortifeed, you probably already know where to get these. If not, I do recommend that you use an interactive map. I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description, but for a quick reference, they're located right here. She's also going to need the helix for her skills, so that is another forgery challenge that you can focus on as well to prepare for her. Also, if you plan to get her signature weapon, you're going to need these to level it up as well. Then when it comes to her boss materials, you're going to need to farm this boss, so that way you can get his tacit cores. And for the weekly boss, you want to focus on Dreamless to get her feathers. But one thing to note when it comes to the bosses, if you are close to Union level 40, I recommend not doing these until you reach that level, so that way you can get better rewards. And since Yinlin is coming early, we are getting a few extra pulls to help roll for her, just in case if you use too many on Jian. But one thing to note that when it comes to these limited banners is that the pity does carry over. And since Yinlin's 4-star characters are not that great, you could consider rolling on Jian to try to get better 4-stars, but you do run the risk of getting an extra copy of Jian. So if you're feeling lucky, you might want to try this strat. And a few useful tips. Take advantage of the shops. For example, at the Weapon Forger, you can buy some of those materials to help level up your characters. You're also able to craft some okay 4-stars like the Rectifier number 25. And at the pharmacy, if you're desperate, you can buy plants, but it's usually just better to go ahead and use an interactive map. And another way to get rewards is to do cooking. By clicking here, you can see that as your proficiency gets up, you're going to be getting a few extra rewards. So try not to completely abandon this. On top of that, you do have some recipes that are very powerful and can help you clear challenges in the world. Like this one, the Mori Pot. You can make this, and you can use that to make your character stronger when doing tactical holograms. And while all of that is in the main city, one place that you want to also take a look at is Tiger Mall's mine. Especially this ore vendor to where you can use rocks collected throughout the world to buy some pretty nice materials. And then lastly, just make sure that you're keeping up with your battle pass. By now, hopefully everyone that has purchased this has been able to get enough levels to get the weapon selector box. And for me, I ended up going with Autumn Trace since it has a crit rate substat to where this works great on Jian and Calcharo. And that should be everything that you need to know for this week in Wuthering Waves. But let me know if I missed anything down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, I would greatly appreciate a like so that way we can spread more on YouTube. But other than that, I'll talk with you guys later.